All right, some more cryptozoology. Sea serpents and lake monsters especially. That's my jam, I guess. But we just kind of tore into Lake Okanagan, Ogopogo. That's my favorite. I'm kind of editing in between these videos, so it might be a little weird, a little jump there. But I remember watching with my mom and my stepdad here in Staten, like fucking almost 40 years ago. And we're watching this program, and I don't remember the name of it. Damn it. Unexplained Mysteries or something like that. You guys know what I'm talking about with the dude that was like legendary. But it was like a 3-part thing with like 3 segments, and one of them was Okanagan and the snake-like thing that was splashing around in the lake. And I remember like that captivating the shit out of me as a kid. And it was like this dude and his kid, and it's this kid's birthday, and they're out like in a canoe, and like the snake thing was writhing around next to the canoe, and it freaked me out. But that's not what it was at all. Once I tracked it down years later, it was like a beaver splashing away, but that was in the distance, and that was all in that clip. And I'm like, how did I get it that far off, like that distorted? And I'm wondering if there was a reenactment in that I didn't see years later on. So maybe I gotta go look and find that, because it was nothing like that beaver jumping out. It was clearly like this coiled snake-like thing writhing around right next to him with like logs and stuff. And it freaked me out, because we're going back, like, I was born in 76. The Legend of Boggy Creek type of creepy shit that I've seen. So who knows what the fuck was leading up to that, or what I may have seen. But I swear, dude, there was something going on along with that. But Lake Okanagan is like, what, 80 miles long? And a lot of like awesome like footage, you know. And I'm not saying any of it's like proof or anything like that. I'm largely skeptical. But on occasion, you'll see something, and one of them is from that lake that freaked me out. One of the lake monsters, there's a grip. And even if you go back to Scotland, there's like more locks that are fucking awesome. But, here's an old friend at daytime. The pond monster. Difficult to see, but he's still in there. And if you look closely, he's got like a flipper, like a skeletal remains. 2 pairs. Once kind of a third of the way, and the second kind of 2/3 of the way. Doesn't quite pick up, but if I would have picked that up at nighttime, that would have scared me even fucking more. But it's there, and there's branches sticking out to indicate that I scare so easily. But same lake at daytime. No pond monsters in sight, other than me, I guess. But this kind of like, in a way, this is kind of like Lake Champlain in Vermont, where the shorelines like are kind of like this, and you never really can tell where like it meets up. It's like really swampy and lots of vegetation. So the stories just run wild with that sea serpent or lake monster, whatever you want to call it, trapped in that lake. But yeah, cue the eerie music. Made the same move at nighttime, come over here, talking about the Spicer sighting from like the 30s. Yeah. And there was like handwritten stuff in that same book that I was reading in the library, and there was multiple books. Other ones that caught my attention was like a Jacques Cousteau and like his awesome photographs, because this is way before any type of internet stuff, which, by the way, the internet got there like pretty quick, not too long after that. 1985. And if you had like that primitive dial-up, I guess, and Atari, you could actually text people playing video games. I don't know if you could play with them, but you could send messages. I call it text. Stupid. But lake monsters all over the world. Sea serpents, that's another one. Might as well get it in here because that's even like a more important one to me, because there's like even more credibility just due to like where these things could live. Not saying they're real, but like the sailor stories going back to like antiquity all over the world, man, are talking about these things. And I'm sure like the overwhelming majority of them are like, you're looking at something else. But hell, I even like bought books dedicated to this. I was like, holy shit. And you're just reading like example after example, especially the Lake Monsters and Sea Serpents one. Like Lauren Coleman, he what did he do? Did he write that one, or did he like compile it? I'm pretty sure he was involved, but at any rate, it was a long list of like lake monsters and sea serpent sightings. Very descriptive, some pages long. All over the world, like Vietnamese, gigantic like sea centipedes with a bunch of legs. Weird things, you know, in the Arctic, Antarctica. But anything like in the water like freaks me out. There's a term for it, like online right now, of like video games and like YouTube videos. Thalassophobia, am I getting that right? But yeah, even though a bunch of it sucks, a lot of it does line up. I understand that. But anything like splashing and like coming up out of the water, you know, fucking with you. Like another story would be like Pensacola, like the 4 or 5 kids, the boys, the friends that went out for a swim, like a storm came in and they're out there fucking around too long, and they had like no choice but to go for like this wreckage, and it was like super foggy, and like the sea monster came in and like picked them off one by one. And like one of them survived, and like he was like telling like the detective all this because everybody else was dead. I'm here in Oregon. We have like Crater Lake. There was the Crater Lake monster. There's not a lot on that. Not going to talk about that too much. They did make a movie, which is pretty stupid. But it's right there with like I guess it's no more dumb than the other ones that came out then. There was like, outside of the cheesy effects, like a lot of eerie, creepy stuff with the shots. Like the shots, they paid close attention to like to the shots in those, like with like a, you know, Bigfoot and all that. or something that straight up come out of the depths and nail you. So yeah, man, lake monsters, sea serpents. There's been a lot of sightings of like sea serpents, like going back like by naval vessels, you know, combat vessels in war times also. And the captains, the crew describe this and that, blah, blah, blah. You can look it up. There's tons of stuff like engravings and drawings of like these supposed sea serpents. And if I was a tattoo guy, I'd probably just stick to that theme with that old school style artwork from a long gone era. But yeah, any body of water, especially something that's stagnant, like a pond or whatever, like something could be in there. Like, man, I was just about to go, but what was it? Like, the story was out of Wisconsin. I guess they have a bunch of lakes, and one of them was basically a decommissioned dam, and the reservoir side had sunken so low that you could see all of like the cut off tree trunks, but there was still like a lake there. And this younger guy and his dad went out, and the younger guy's like telling the story. He's older now, and they were fishing out on a boat out there, and they threw like this rope to kind of lasso around like these tree stumps to anchor them. And to their horror, it was like this giant serpent looking right at him that he threw it over. And I know it sounds preposterous, but the way that was written, like, it blew my mind. And I love shit like that. I really do. I mean, it just, like, when you got older and I'm reading and I'm piecing everything together, oh, that's the fucked up shit my parents let me watch back in the day, but a little bit. And, you know, I can never line everything up too much, like Halloween 1 and Halloween 2. Like I said in another video, I thought that was the same movie. So, but, you know, I grew up with like Jaws, Piranha, which is a ripoff, but there's, God bless the ripoffs. If you didn't have ripoffs, there'd be no Jason Voorhees. Now, I'm not saying go out there and do that, okay? Because there's enough, to me, I don't even think he's necessarily quite there as a ripoff. I think he skated on thin ice, and we could talk about why in like another vid, but whatever. But 70s and 80s horror, especially with these cheesy documentaries about like these cryptozoology monsters. If there's like pieces here and there like redone or whatever, or maybe, you know, edited out or whatever, it's like genuinely creepy overall. But it's still creepy even if you watch it with the bullshit in. But, you know, rivers, lakes, seas, oceans, whatever's lurking in there is always fascinating to me, and like the creatures in it. Hell, even down here at this park, I remember, you know, 20 years ago now, I was walking out at summertime in the river. It was low enough, just chilling, looking, and I looked down. It was like this big ass dead like trout right there, and it freaked me out because at first I didn't know what the fuck it was. It was so big, and it's like, fuck, really, dude? You almost gave me a heart attack. But yeah, man, I just have always loved that subject, still do. Fascinated with it. Fascinated with the stories from people that's no longer here, like loved ones, family members, that would tell me stuff that's like, you know, not going to be believed. But yeah. Lake monsters, sea serpents. I'm such a nerd. But I also love science so much that you can call me what you want. Anyways, better out.